Number 2, personal finance at the Bauer College of Business. It is April 5th, year of our Lord 2022. I'm sorry I'm late. I've just been sitting here waiting for class to start, and yeah. Okay, gonna admit some folks into Zoom. Can you hear me? Give me a sound test on Zoom. Sorry to keep y'all waiting. And I have hundreds of people in the classroom, and I kept them waiting too. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's get started. We're going to talk about retirement planning today. But before we do that, I just was reading an email from some. Here we go. I need to make this announcement. If you're interested in exploring a career in finance, the Bauer Finance Association is hosting a career panel event. It will be on Thursday, April 7th in Melcher Hall, room 180. You will hear speakers describe the various career paths available in finance, and you will be able to interact with them and ask questions. And food will be served. So there you have it. You might want to make a note of that. If you're interested in a career in finance, this week, Thursday, 6 p.m., Melcher Hall, room 180. That's my announcement. So if that's you, make a note, grab a screenshot, and we will get started. Okay, this week is week 10. We're going to talk about the assignment this week. How much does it cost to retire? So first of all, before we get started, any questions? Any questions from last week or this week or next week? No? Good. Yes?
Was there supposed to be like a lot of change on the retirement plan, like the circle?
On the circle, the probability? Was there supposed to be a lot of change? Depends on what you did in your plan. Did you find any changes? Did you get any?
It's because before changing everything, I forgot to take a screenshot. So I did something else. So it was on 29% probability, and it went up to 50 something.
Oh, cool.
It had originally gone from 0 to 80 something.
Yeah, so it's going to jump around, and what you do this week in this week's assignment is also going to impact your probability of success. And I'm going to show you and ask you to do a little bit more tweaking to your plan so that you can see the changes. But yeah, you're not. I mean, everything you do in your plan moving forward is going to change your probabilities of success. So you'll see that number move. And the hope is that you'll see what you're doing in your plan and how it's impacting your probability of success. So with retirement planning, it's really about answering one question, which is how much? How much will it cost to retire? And so that's really what I want you guys to get familiar with as you play with your financial plan and as you do this week's assignment in particular. So this week's assignment is really like it's like an opportunity for you to do your capstone assignment, and it's a practice run for your capstone assignment. So as you do this week's assignment, you're going to want to save your work and just know that you're basically doing a test trial run of your capstone. Capstone assignment's worth 200 points. So speaking of points, I want to mention before I forget that to get an A in this course, you need 950 points. Most of you are doing really well. You're going to earn your 950 points before the semester's really over. And that's intentional because this course does not have a final exam. Instead, we have a capstone assignment, which is worth 200 points. But when you get 950 points, you basically have an opportunity to go and spend more time on those courses where you do have a final exam. So my hope is that you will continue your education into personal finance, and I'm going to be talking about ways you can do that. But so the course is going to end. It's coming to an end pretty quick. But your education in personal finance, I'm hoping you continue that. So we cover a lot of ground in this semester, and we kind of set the foundation, but there's so much more to learn, and you really only learn it when you're engaged in practicing it. And so that's one reason why your financial planning portal with Bayrock will be available to you after the course. If you want to keep that, if you're appreciating the benefits that you have in building a retirement plan, you'll be able to keep that for as long as you want. However, you will be requested to enroll in another course, which you can find at missionalmoney.com. So you see there's a button there to subscribe to the podcast. The podcast is there to support the course. Hit the enroll button and you'll be able to enroll in the course. And this is on the same platform that Money Study Group is on. It's just a different title. It's called Make Your Money Count. It's the name of my book, Make Your Money Count. And then when you hit on Let's Make a Plan, you'll see that's the same. It's the same portal that you're using now. So students have been asking me about whether or not they'll be able to keep the planning portal after the semester. And the answer is yes. However, I'm going to be deleting all of the student plans unless you just let me know. And the way you let me know is just go ahead and jump over into that other course. And then I'll know that you have a portal and I'll keep it. So for those of you who are just here for the semester and you want to get your grade and move on, that's great. You don't need to worry about it. It's just an invitation for students who are interested in continuing their education. You'll have all access to everything you have now, plus much, much more. So that was another announcement. Here we go. This is kind of what we're looking at in terms of retirement planning. I want to walk you through some of the components of your plan, which you should be familiar with, just kind of help you be more familiar with them as you work on your capstone and as you work on this week's assignment. One thing that's not in this week's assignment, if you look at Blackboard, I need to update this. So one of the things I'm going to ask you to do this week is to change your birthday. I'm going to ask you to give yourself 10 years. Just make yourself 10 years older by changing your birthday. And the way you'll do that is you'll go into your plan. If I can get there. You'll go into your profile. You may remember doing this. You'll click on Family. That's where you live in your plan. And just click on your birthday. And then go up here and change the date. So if you were born in 1990, change it to 1980. And that'll make you 10 years older. So that's one of the things I want you to do this week in your plan. It's not in the instructions in Blackboard, but that's something I want you to do. And here's why. So last week, you guys, you entered your 401k plan, right? You told your plan that, yes, you want to participate in a 401k plan. So you went and you should have gone to savings and you would have added a 401k. Am I right? And you did that. Most of you did that. That's what I haven't graded all the assignments, but most of you did that. So that's the data card for adding to your plan your 401k, right? And most of you did that. But what you didn't do, what most of you didn't do, is in profile, when you go over here to investments, most of you, let me show you what it looks like in your plan. Not everyone, but most of you have not added an investment account for that 401k. So you told your plan, yes, I want to contribute to my 401k, and you set it up with the match and all of that. But what you didn't do is you didn't go, most of you didn't go into your actual investment portal and add the investment. And I'll be able to do this eventually. I don't know why it's being so finicky. But the way you do that is you just go there and add the account. So you would add an investment, and then you would add the 401k. And that's something most of you didn't do. How many of you did that? Cool. So you did it. You, that was coming. I don't know that. Yeah. Did I say 50,000? That's fine. So this week I want you to change that though. So 50,000. But if you put money in, then if you had money in the account, like Billy does here, he's got money in his 401k. He's got money in it. He works at Walmart. Sally works at Walmart. Billy works at Marathon. So you see there's some money in the account, right? Setting up the savings goal doesn't actually put money in the account. So you got to tell your plan that you have money in your account. Now, just a minute ago, I told you I want you to add 10 years to your plan, right? I want to make you 10 years older. So if that's true, if we pretend that it's 10 years from now, and you've already committed in your plan that you want to save in your 401k, and you even told your plan how you want to save. So we go to goals, profile, saving, and 401k. So you've done this, but now let's say that it's 10 years later and you've been doing this for 10 years. Where would that money be? Would be in your 401k account. So to get there, you go back over to net worth. You go into your investment account, and so that's where you'll change the balance. So if you're 10 years older, it's very simple math, and you're contributing, say you make $100,000 and you're contributing to your 401k so that you get the match. And how much is the match in your 401k? 6%. So if you make 100,000 and your match is 6%, how much are you contributing? How much? No, you're actually contributing 6,000. You could do 12, but my point is just if you're setting up your plan just so that you get the match, which is a good way to do it, at least to get the match, then you're putting in 6,000, the company's putting in 6,000. So at the end of the year, how much should be in your account? 12,000. So if you're 10 years older now, how much would be in your 401k? So you'd say 120, and that could be correct, but what I would suggest you do is take a look, think about your which asset allocation you chose, and just do a little. You can impress me by just showing me that you're thinking about how would that money have grown in your 401k if you were investing in a different asset allocation. Like if you said preservation, that means you don't want to lose any money. You probably would have $120,000 in your 401k after 10 years of investing $12,000 a year. You put in 6, they put in 6, the account value's 12, and 10 years later you have 120 grand. What was your question?
How do we change mine right now is kind of moderate.
So the way where is it moderate?
Top of the target allocation.
So I'm assuming you're going to investments.
The asset allocation.
And,
The top right at bottom right, where it says, yours says current.
yep. So you could change it there. Do you see how I did that?
I have like a little circle X crossed out that is what we click on it.
Can I see? Yep.
Our like group company or whatever.
Yes. So the amount of your 401k, can I hold your laptop? So when you click on, it says nothing. I think that's probably because I'm going to go to profile. I'm looking for investment. You want to see what I'm doing here? I'm clicking on your investment and I'm going to customize here.
Okay.
So, now I'm going to just click moderate and then I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to go back to your investment. I don't know why you weren't. And then now it's moderate, but I don't know why you can't change it. That's weird. Can you guys change your asset allocation? So here we are, investment and asset allocation. How many of you, when you click on that, you see where I'm clicking, right? I'm clicking right there. When you click on that, do you see those options? Because Ethan's not seeing that. It's Ethan, right? Ethan doesn't have the option. He gets a blocked out.
For me, it takes me to
Oh,
my profile.
takes you to your profile? Weird. Huh. So it's different in your plan. I don't understand that. Hold on, give me just a second. I'm going to jump into Ethan's plan real quick and see what settings I have. Ethan Gibson. So I'm going to go client access. I'm giving you the snapshot too there. You'll have extra. Huh. Yeah, I don't understand why. I may have to call my tech support and figure that out. Back into Billy's plan. So I just changed. I didn't really change anything, but hold on. Moderate. Yeah, that's weird. I don't understand. You know what? I may have to. So you can change your asset allocation in the actual investments. Let me see if we go to 401k. It's target allocation, current allocation, action items. I'm going to have to think on that. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe you need to just set up another account. Investment. Oh, you have you call it. So here, can I show the screen? I don't know if it'll show up in the. There's what I'm working on. Just so you know, I'm working. So what Ethan has is he set up an account. He calls it a 401k, but it's actually a taxable account. So now I'm going to click. So let me show you what I'm doing here if I can. So when we go into profile, we go to net worth, you see these investments. So what happened is Ethan has an account set up and he named it 401k, but right here he's got taxable account. So I don't know that this is what's causing the problem, but I'm going to change that to 401k. Now I'm going to hit save. Now I want to go see what the investment asset allocation is. I don't understand why. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to check in with my support team to see why you're not able to get a drop down. How many of you are not able to get a drop? You can't get a drop down? Yeah, so yeah, you go to investment, go to asset allocation, and then right here, I'm curious, are you seeing that?
I can do it right now.
It's just a red, like,
Just the red now. Like, nope.
that's weird.
I don't even get that. I'm not sure if I just missed the step.
Can I see yours? I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure this out. Sorry if you're watching on YouTube or the Facebook or you, yeah, whatever. If you're we're having a little technical difficulty. I'm trying to figure out. Thank you. So you don't have any accounts. Okay. So let me just so what I'm going to go to profile and I'm going to go to so I went to profile. This is where we'd add an account and I'm waiting. Oh, thank you. So right now you don't have any investment accounts.
I tried to make one, but can you click on it?
Add account, investment. Let's call it a 401k. Do you mind me doing this? I want to see if I can 401k. I'm going to put, how do I delete that?
I'm not sure. Yeah, it doesn't.
So I just set up your account. I'm going to hit save. Now I'm going to go over here to investment. And did you see how I did that? I set up your asset allocation based on a model and I set it up for moderate. You can change that. You can do whatever you want. But when you change that, it's going to move the needle on your plan. So anyway, I just set that up in profile, add account, and I set up a 401k account. Now I want to go over here to investment, and I want to see if we can change. See, you can't change it. I don't understand why. When I go down here to balance back to your target portfolio. So I've got to figure out why. I don't understand why. Because see, when I do it over here, same thing. We can change it from this screen, but you can't. And I don't know why. Neither can apparently anyone. Don't understand why. What's your name?
Ruth.
Ruth. What's your last name?
Hernandez.
Okay. I'm going to check your plan too. So if you're in Zoom, leave a comment. Tell me, are you able to see that, or are you not able to do that? Doesn't really matter. You know, one way you can do it is to go to profile, net worth, and look for your investment accounts. And in the investment account, you can open up your investment accounts and you can change your asset allocation there. That's one thing you can do. See how I did that? I opened Sally's 401k at Walmart. I click on that and I'm going to go change it to moderate and hit save. So you can do the same thing. Also, I wanted to point out this is probably the retirement tab. So we've looked at the dashboard tab, we've looked at the profile tab, these upper tabs, and now I'm looking at the retirement tab. And when you click on the action items right there, that's another place you can change your asset allocation. So Ruth, can you do that? And Ethan, can you do that?
I changed it on
In
profile net worth one.
okay. So now what I want you to do is go to retirement. Just click on that upper tab called retirement. It'll take you to the retirement analysis. And then you're going to click on the action items right there. See that?
I did most aggressive. It changed the probability of success for the proposed plan, but it didn't change the investment asset allocation.
So Ethan, when you click on this button, do you have the option to change? You do?
In the retirement.
Okay, cool, but not in the investment asset allocation one. That's okay, good. Well then I don't need to check in with my support team. We just need to know If you want to change your asset allocation, you have two ways to do it. One is you can go into the specific investment account and you can change it there. Or if you want to change it for your whole plan, you can do it right here. And it's going to change your asset allocation for all of your investments.
It did not change the investment page though.
No, it's not going to change the investment page. It's just going to save it in your planning. So it's like saying to your plan, I wonder what if? What if I change this? What will it do to my probability of success? And so that's where you will do that. And I would just stick to the top 6. Preservation would be very, so don't forget to hit refresh. So now when you change it, you're saying, Ethan, that it doesn't change it in your,
Like this target allocation is still,
what you set it up at.
I've never changed it.
Okay. What do you have it set at in your account?
I put both of them to most aggressive.
Okay. And so then when you go back to retirement, you go to retirement and you click down the action items. Tell me what happens if you change it to preservation right there. Tell me what happens to your probability of success.
Right now, before it was 99 to 100. It's still 99 and 100, but the proposed plan amount dropped down. Well, it was like 65 million or something, and then now it's like 8.7 million.
So you had $65 million at the end of your
Are,
plan.
like, super high.
Yeah. So let me talk about that for a minute. That's one of the reasons I want you to raise your age, because what we're doing right now is we're telling this computer mathematical algorithm thing that you're pretty young. How old are you, Ethan? So you're 21 and you're going to be investing 50 grand a year or whatever you have in your plan. How much are you telling your plan you're going to be investing?
6%. I think it was,
So 12 grand a year.
I believe so. And then
And how much do you actually have saved in your plan? You put your 401k 50 grand. Any other assets?
my house, which is at 230,000.
It's not paid for though, right? Do you?
The purchase, I'm not sure about that.
So you'll want to figure that out. Like if you have a house, you want to know if it's showing as an asset and a liability, because it should be. You should have a loan. Do you have a loan? If you have a house, you should have a loan. That was part of your assignment a couple weeks ago. So right now, Ethan is saying he's got like $67 billion left over in his plan. That's ridiculous.
Oh, I have my mortgage loan and my other expenses.
Okay, cool. So that's one of the reasons I want you to make yourself 10 years older, because you just get some really ridiculous numbers that make your plan look silly. And by the way, when you do your capstone assignment, this is important. When you do your capstone assignment, I'm going to be looking to see what is the value of your plan at the end of your plan. If you've got a couple $1 million left, or $5 million, I'm going to be like, okay, that's cool. But if you got 50 million, if there's a zero on there, if it's over $10 million and you don't tell me why, you're gonna get deductions on your capstone. So that's one of the things I want us to just pay attention to, is how much, if your plan's successful, right now it's zero and you change it to 100 with $50 million left, there's something going on in your plan that we should figure out. And I want you to figure it out. And so that's why in this week's assignment, one of the things I want you to do when you do your summary at the end is I want you to tell me if you have questions. If you're working on your plan and you see $40 million and you mention it in these comments, I'm going to be like, great. I don't need to mention it because you did. But if I look at your capstone and you've got $40 million in there and you're not telling me anything about it, you're going to get deductions in the capstone. So this week, it's not about getting anything perfect. It's just about getting good, knowing how to navigate your plan and what's in it and what are the elements and how do they change your probability of success. And so again, the best way to do that is to go, yeah, here we go. Sorry about that. Is to go to the retirement analysis page, click on those action items. Those are the major inputs that you can use to do what if scenarios in your plan, like asset allocation. So, does that make sense? That's really a big part of this week's assignment. You're going to take screenshots of these different data cards. Like I want to see when we go into the assignment, you're going to see there's a bunch of screenshots and they're easy to do. I just want you to jump in and I want you to show me your goals, your income, your savings, your expenses. The reason I want you to show me family is I want you to show me your data card that you changed your birthday so that you're 10 years older. And then asset allocation, since you're not able to do that in your asset allocation screen, you can do it right there. So you're not able to do this, Ruth and Ethan, right? When you go to the asset allocation tab, you can't even see that, can you? You're not able to click down on that, but you can do it in the retirement analysis. So just grab a screenshot there and show me what you did, what you changed.
So we're not supposed to have over like 10 million for like retirement?
I mean, if you have 10 million left over at the end of your plan, that's a lot of money, and I want you to tell me why you have so much.
But we have 117 million. That's not, I did something wrong, right?
If you have over 5 million, there's something in your plan that's pretty unbelievable, incredible, not likely to
I
happen.
mean, ideally that'd be the good thing, right?
Well, yeah, it would be as long as it's an actual, you know,
I'm trying to figure out how I have that.
and that's what I want you to figure out. And that's why I want you to spend a little time, look around and play with that. But here's another thing I want you to do. This is part of your assignment. And let me go to the summary section because I want you to do a little summary and I want you to tell me what you learned this week as you go and fish around in your financial plan, and I want you to also do a retirement calculator. So this is NerdWallet. You can Google this. You can Google retirement calculator. There's thousands of them out there. They're super easy. They'll take literally a couple of minutes, maybe less than a minute, for you to do a quick retirement calculation. You tell them your age, you tell them how much you're going to save for retirement, when you want to retire, and then different calculators have a couple of other things like, do you expect Social Security, yes or no? So just find yourself a retirement calculator or use the one that I linked in your assignment and just do that, and then compare the results of that retirement calculator with what you're seeing in your plan. And if it's close, then you know it's good. But if you've got an extra $20 million in your plan, then you've got to start to say, okay, what am I missing?
Right.
And so then that's where I want you to tell me, here's what I looked for, here's how I tried to figure it out, but I wasn't able to figure it out. Ethan, yeah.
Can we see Billy's net worth and then his retirement analysis?
Sure. So we're going into Billy's plan. You want to see his net worth. So I would go to, where would I go to see net worth? You guys should be seeing this when you go to dashboard, unless you have, like Ethan, if you go to dashboard, click on dashboard and tell me what you see.
That's a snapshot.
It's a snapshot. But Ruth, when you go to dashboard, what do you see?
Like a little bar graph?
Yeah, you should be seeing the balance sheet, right?
If it's in parentheses, does that mean I'm negative?
Yes.
Yep, yep. So that's kind of weird that you have $27 billion left over and you have a negative net worth. 117 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's crazy. That's, as my grandson Caleb would say, he's 3, he would say, that's crazy. Everything's crazy to Caleb. Have you guys met Caleb? You have? Oh, good. Because I was going to show you a video. We could take a few minutes and have a Caleb video, but we won't. Yeah, so that's what you see. If you want to know what, so I'm now in Billy's net worth. So his net worth is right there. That's what you asked for as of 4/5/22. What else did you want to see from Billy?
Well, that was, I think that pretty much answers my question, because I want to see the net worth and then the retirement analysis, but he has liabilities, and I don't know I don't have any liabilities.
So yeah, the liabilities.
So we pretty much have the choice.
Yeah, I mean, like if you bought a house and you didn't set up the loan as a liability, then that's one of the reasons.
Because I put the loans and all those expenses in the expense thing.
Yeah, but you didn't tell your plan that you actually have a loan for 300,000. So to do that, you would just go profile, add account, bank, loan. Yeah, and you could.
have to write the car loan and the.
Yeah. You were supposed to set up a credit card because I wanted you just to see how a real plan would look. So you were supposed to spend some money on a credit card. You were going to buy a house, and you were also going to buy a car. Yes.
Oh, we're supposed to have the car loan on it.
I do have the card as on the card data card. I don't have it on the loans.
Yeah. So you got to do. So what did it on the which data card? Where do you have the car under goal?
The car, I have it on the card.
Under car?
Yeah, on the second, on the bank,
Oh, okay.
I have it there. But I don't have it on the loan.
Oh, so you have it under bank, so it's showing as an asset.
No, I have it under card. It's just right under.
Oh, card. So you put your car loan under card? So
My card.
your car.
Yeah, my credit card.
Oh, your card, your credit card. That's good. That's fine. But so did you link it? Yeah, so that's fine. So if I added an account, if I said loan, if I go add, so you added it right there. You said card. Yeah, that's fine. That works the same as a loan.
Your video is not showing.
Oh, that's great. I can fix that. Thank you for. Took a break. How is it now? It's back. Okay, so did I answer your question?
Yeah.
You see, you have card, you need a mortgage. So that would show up down here in loan.
Yeah.
So everybody should have a loan, a mortgage loan, a credit card with at least 10 grand. And what else? A car loan. So, and that would be under loan. And the way you do that is you go add account, loan, and you set up a loan for your car. If you don't have liabilities in your plan, that's one of the reasons why you would have $17 million in excess. So play with that, get that right, get that squared away, because that's part of your capstone, is just to show that your assets and your liabilities are right. Now, back to the investment account. If you're 10 years older, don't forget, and you're setting up your investment account like Billy has. When I go to investments, where is investment? And I click on that drop down, Billy's got some investments. So you should have a 401k. If you don't show an account there, you need to add one. The way you do that, add account and investment. So now I just added another investment for Billy. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to delete that one. But you saw how I did that. It's super easy. So you add the investment, and then you have to put a balance in. And if I made you 10 years older, the reason I did that is because I wanted you to see what it's going to look like in that 401k investment account. So add 10 years worth of contributions along with what you think the returns would have been if based on your asset allocation. How about that? So I think I'm just going to have to try something. No devices connected. What if I unplug it, plug it back in?
Yeah, for the reason it opens the camera. So maybe it's working with
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Technology. I'm ready. I'm ready for vacation. You can still hear me, you just can't see me, I think. Yes, you can hear me, but you can't see me. I'm going to close my camera, open this. Now it's back. I think you're right. I think it was had something to do with the camera being open. Oh, I know why. Still working? Okay. Let me get rid of that. What happened? I'm going to teach you guys a little trick. Okay. I have an Apple Watch. My Apple Watch has, you could set different apps, right? So we're at the top right, I have camera. It's really cool. Like if your camera is set up and you want to be in the picture, you can activate the camera right here. Did you know that? It's pretty cool. The only problem is every once in a while, like if I push my watch, it'll activate the camera. So you were right. I activated the camera and it shut down this little gizmo. Okay, so back to the investment account. You're going to need to change your birthday so you're 10 years older, which means now you got to go into your account and you have to account for the 10 years now that you're 10 years older. And you're going to pretend that you've been investing in your 401k for 10 years. So you have to come up with an amount that convinces me that you're putting the right amount in that 401k. And if you're an aggressive investor, your returns over the last 10 years are going to be significantly more than someone who said their asset allocation was preservation of capital, because they're going to have very little growth over 10 years. But if you were aggressively invested over the last 10 years, you can do a little research and see what that would look like. It would be pretty significant. Does that make sense? Any other questions? Those are good questions. Yes.
If I do most aggressive, it's still like well over 10 mil. Do you know the?
Have you changed your birthday?
Oh, my God.
So do that, Ethan. Change your birthday real quick and just see what that does to the numbers. I'm curious. So Ethan says he's still showing a pretty high number. He's got, because he's an aggressive investor, he's probably not. Let's see what the market's doing right now while he's looking. Oh, look at that. It's ugly.
It dropped down to 23 mil. It was 65 when I added 10 years.
So it dropped down to what?
It was 65 and went down to 23.
23 million?
Yeah.
You still have 23 million left over.
And most aggressive, yeah.
And how much do you have in your 401k?
50,000.
50,000. And how much are you showing that you're contributing to your investments? The way you would know that is you'd go to profile, savings,
6%.
6%,
And the 401k contribution.
and that's it.
Yes.
So when you go to retirement, I'm going in Billy's plan, I'm going to retirement, action items. How much are you showing for other savings?
I only have from the financial goals thing. Retirement age is 67, monthly expenses $0, and then expenses pre-retirement living is 2,300.
That's expenses pre-retirement is 2,300. Dude, you're going to be living in a cardboard box. That's because you're living with your folks, right?
Yeah, so raise it up.
I mean, yeah, if you want it to be reasonable, like, so yeah, I mean, think about that for a minute. One of the biggest reasons you're going to have $100 million left over in your plan is because you're investing aggressively. You're investing a good amount of money, but you have no expenses. And that's the way it works. If you're making $100,000 a year, just assume for a minute that you're out there, maybe you're married, maybe you have a child, maybe you don't. But you've got a house payment, you've got utilities, you're paying all your bills. Can you live on $2,300 a month? If you're making 100 grand a year and you're actually living a normal life with Netflix and iPhones and Mac computers and eating out. Yeah.
Some of those numbers, are we supposed to just like kind of like estimate?
Yeah. So it's one of the key things I'm going to be looking for is when we go to where do we go to see your expenses?
Oh, because mine just dropped.
I went to profile of expenses and then look at expenses.
And you changed it from 2,300 a month to what?
In the retirement analysis, I changed it to 10,000.
Okay.
It dropped to like I think 16 million, and then I increased my retirement living expenses to 10,000 as well, and now it's like 2.2 mil.
So it's getting closer to reality.
Yeah, 'cause I just dropped mine. My living expenses from 1,800, making 100 grand to 6,000 a month, and it just dropped from 117 million to 57 million. I'm getting closer.
You're getting closer, 57 million. I'd still love to have that kind of net worth when I'm, but yeah, these are just,
Like closer to reality.
did you change your birthday?
No, not yet.
Do that now and give me an update. So this is one of the problems I'm always trying to solve is we have students who cannot figure out how to get their plan off of a zero probability of success. And then once they do, they have $100 million and they don't even realize that that's a kind of an anomaly, like that's not realistic. There's something not working in your plan. So one of the things is, so it's getting closer. When you add 10 years, now you only have 20 million instead of 57 million. Yep, getting poorer by the minute. So we're getting closer. Does it make sense though? Now you're starting to see how you go into your plan and you make some changes. Let me just highlight though, if you're going to change your, and this is important because this is something that's going to be a big part of the capstone because it's a big part of any financial plan. It's your expenses. So where do I go to find expenses for Billy's plan? I want to see how much is cost. So profile and then expenses. And what I see there is pre-retirement living expense. And what Billy has is $12,000 a month, and we use the simple approach for Billy. But what were you supposed to do? Not the simple approach, but you were going to do a detailed worksheet. So, see how that works? And I want to also show you that, Ethan, can you do this? See what I just did? We went to profile, expenses, and we show living expenses, taxes and fees. And I'm just curious if you can add an expense up there.
Yeah, that's how I've been doing most of my expenses. I haven't been adding to the living expense. So
Okay.
for the mortgage or credit card, I would just do add expense.
Okay. Well, do set it up in the other, instead of adding your mortgage here, which I guess you could do, but it's just not going to take in the whole data from the data card. That data card is very special. It's got some important fields. So for your mortgage and your credit card and any other loans that you could use here, do it here. Okay? Don't.
The detailed worksheet, right?
Well, so we're talking about two different things, Ethan. I'm talking, first of all, you said you added your mortgage by going to profile expenses, and that's where you added your mortgage. So I'm saying delete it from there and then go back over to net worth and add account and add loan and add your mortgage here, because that's going to give you the kind of data that you need in your plan, so you don't end up with $100 million. Just going to work better. Okay? So I got to delete this from Billy's plan, delete this from Billy's plan. So now let me answer your question about the detailed part. Because when you enter your expenses, the way Billy has it set up isn't going to work. So I go to profile expenses. And when I go into pre-retirement living expenses, so what Billy did is he just said $12,000. That's the simple approach. Hit save. Now that's what his plan shows. However, what I want you to do is not the simple approach. I want you to do a detailed approach. Did I? Well, if you got 117 million, I'm going to care. I'm going to be like, help me out here. So, I mean, I just want you to know this is what I'm going to ask you to do in the capstone is break it out, show me, because it's such an important part of your plan, expenses. And my sense is, after teaching this course for so many years, that a lot of younger folks have no clue what the expenses are really going to be. That's why you would say that, you could live on, how much did you have? $1,200 a month? 23, which is, if you're living at home, you're absolutely going to be able to do that. But I just want you guys to use realistic numbers on the expense side, because the numbers we're making up in the other side is going to give you guys ridiculous numbers. But the expenses, when you do the detailed part, it just makes you think more about what your expenses are going to be. Okay? So I thought you could add categories, but I guess that's budget. So if I go to budget, where would I go to budget? Dashboard, budget. And if I haven't linked cards, I don't get to use the budget. The budget's a really powerful part of the planning portal, but if you don't link a real credit card, you don't get access to this. So I would encourage, especially if you're thinking, this is a really powerful premium planning portal and you want to keep it and you want to keep using it after this semester, then I would really encourage you to go over back to profile and link an account. Click on aggregation. And when you do that, link an account, it's going to give you access to just about any institution you could have your money at. So if you're banking with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whoever, if you link that card, that debit card, that bank account, that credit card, or your Robinhood account, it doesn't matter, it's going to feed into your plan. But your credit card, if you link your credit card, the cool thing is then when you go to dashboard and you go to budget, you're going to have a whole lot more information there that's going to be real. And it's going to help you see your spending, and it's just going to be helpful.
I have a question. At the beginning, like during the second assignment, that is budgeting,
Yep.
I linked my credit card account, but then I deleted to do the other credit crush.
Okay. Yeah.
Not just
Yeah, you could have left them both in. I mean, you could have added a pretend credit card account with $50,000 balance, whatever. You could have done that. But yeah, I wouldn't delete if you're comfortable linking your card. I know some students think, "Oh, I would never do that because I'm afraid of security." This is bank level encryption. It is what it is. It's as good as mint.com without the commercials. but you have to have a card linked if you're going to use the budget component. I don't require you to do that, but it is a powerful, helpful resource, and it's available for you. So I do want to mention it again because, like, Billy doesn't have anything linked, but if he did, we could really build a budget here, and he would be able to add a category.
Maybe the
Okay.
It's this again. Maybe I,
now you're in the main menu. Your phone.
yeah, oh, my phone is. Yeah, this is crazy. I think after a while, it's just time to.
The phone base. It's kind of clicking something. Some of the buttons.
I think it's my watch. Because my camera was activated again. Is it good now? Yeah, it's my watch. Anyway, any questions? Anything I'm not covering for you? So I want to just go over this real quick. Ethan, I want to make sure you understand this, that on your pre-retirement expenses, you guys want to use the detailed approach. Okay, you got that? That's pre-retirement expenses. But what other expenses are going to really impact your plan? Retirement. So if this is where you go for pre-retirement normal living expenses, profile expenses, where do you go to tell your plan what you're spending in retirement? In retirement, expenses in retirement.
You go to. I don't remember the.
So let me just highlight that, okay, every plan is based on goals. So the more goals you have and the more expensive those goals are, the more it's going to cost for your plan to achieve the goals in your plan, right? If your plan is to retire at 59, which is what Billy's plan is, come on, retirement. So we have retirement goal and a retirement expense. And it's under goals. And that's where you need to do a little work to figure out. And again, you can do a simple approach or a detailed worksheet. Now, Ethan, let me ask you this. If you were going to create kind of a detailed worksheet for expenses in retirement, and let's say that you were going to do that 20 minutes after you do a detailed worksheet for expenses before retirement, what would be the difference between those two worksheets? So a detailed worksheet for your expenses. You've got one for today, before retirement, but then you've got one for after you retire. They're both the same thing. They're both detailed worksheets for expenses with categories, just like a budget. It's just a worksheet to try to figure out what is your burn rate. How much are you spending every month to pay all your bills, to go out to eat, to go to Starbucks, to have fun, to travel, to do all the things you want to do? You've got a worksheet for before retirement, but then you have another worksheet that's for after retirement. What would be different?
Like what we want to do when we're retired.
Yeah, like what would you want to do when you're retired? And so what would be different about that set of expenses versus before you retire?
I wouldn't have like a mortgage loan. My car would be paid off. My truck, any like education fees for my kids' college would be paid off.
So those are great answers. So I'm hearing I wouldn't have a mortgage, I wouldn't have kids, so I wouldn't be paying for college. I wouldn't have, what was the last thing you said about cars? My car would be paid off. So think about that for a minute. We're doing a detailed worksheet for expenses, but we just named at least 3 expenses that are listed in other goals. College education, that was a specific goal. Mortgage to pay off your house, that's a specific data card, right? And your car payment, that's a specific loan over here. So when you do your detailed expense sheet, it doesn't include those things because they're already accounted for in terms of those other expenses. So your living expenses, if they're accounted for somewhere else, you don't duplicate them in your expense in your detail worksheet. Does that make sense?
So our retirement expenses are supposed to be less, substantially less than our pre.
That's a great question. So it's Daniel.
Yes.
Daniel's question is, so our retirement expenses should be substantially less than our pre-retirement expenses. And
Lavishly, but we're like non-retired, and we're like have cars and like houses and stuff.
Yes and no, but you help.
Daniel says he spends lavishly before he retires, but after he retires, it's cardboard boxes. What was that?
Yes, so that, like it's gotta be less.
It's got to be less. Daniel is building his case without much data, but he's very convicted.
Let me ask you something. So your health insurance is probably going to go up as you get older.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So health insurance, I forgot your name.
And your
Andrea is telling Daniel that his health insurance expenses are going to go up after retirement. And Daniel's response is that how that works? So yeah, that's one of the expenses you have to think about in retirement, that the cost of medicine and physical therapy, and there are a lot of different things, that will go up.
So it will kind of be the same then. You'll take away from other expenses. Like you won't have a car loan, but you'll have like medical expenses.
And you might have every 3 months, I'm going to go on a cruise. People that retire, a lot of people I work with, that's like their hope, their dream, their plan is to earn a lot of money, save a lot of money, and then when they retire, they're going to go do all the things they never could do because they worked so much. And that means it's going to be more expensive, at least in the first few years of retirement. So it may change 10 years into retirement, but those are just some things I want you to think about. You don't need to have any answers, Daniel. Like, I don't expect you to know what that's going to be like, but I do expect that you start to think about that it'll be different. Like, there'll be a different set of expenses after you retire than before. Because 10 years from now, 20 years from now, if you start thinking about that now, that will become a good model for you to think about planning for your retirement. It is different after you retire. But you have to think about what is it you really want to do in retirement. You don't have to know that by next week. That's not really part of this course. But, for people that come to work on a financial plan, they really need to have goals and understand that goals cost money. And one of the goals is retirement. That's a big goal. It involves a lot of things. Don't we just die?
That's right.
Yeah, I want to just die.
So they'll pretty much equal the same amount like expenses. They'll just be used differently.
I would say no, Daniel. He says, so they'll equal, they'll just be different. And I'd say no, sometimes they can be dramatically different. In fact, for most people, I would say that the expenses in retirement are less than the expenses before retirement. And one of the reasons you already mentioned, you don't have kids. You're not buying clothes for work. There's a lot of things you don't do in retirement. You just kind of start to simplify your life, most people. You may travel though. You may have some expenses in retirement that you didn't have before retirement. But maybe your vacation expenses before retirement now becomes your travel expenses in retirement, and they're not that different. It just depends on your lifestyle. But I wouldn't make any generalizations that it's going up or down or staying the same. It's going to depend on you. But most people in retirement, they're trying to spend less. They're planning on spending less. They're preparing to spend less because they want to retire and just relax. but they've accumulated. Like, I'll give you a good example. I'm not retired. I don't ever really want to retire. I don't think. But I want to always have the option to not work if I don't want to. But I,
Do like a gig,
yeah,
go work on.
like I have a gig. It's called Bayrock Financial. It's a registered investment advisory firm, and I do financial planning and investment management. But I have a relatively small number of clients who trust me, who I don't have to work my what off every day. I do what it takes to give them great service. That's my goal. But it's really manageable. And I'd like to do that as long as I can, as long as I have the mental capacity to do that. That's my retirement plan. So I would get bored if I did nothing. But here's the rest of my retirement plan, and I call it retirement. Here's my plan for financial independence. Here's my life plan for right now. How it works. Like, I bought an RV, it's paid for. My house is paid for. Everything I own is paid for, including this amazing computer. So, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max is paid for, and the watch, and the iPad. Like, I don't owe Apple anything, but they own me. But I'm just saying, I have a lot of things that aren't really expensive today in retirement because I paid for them while I was working full time and saving and buying stuff. So that's the way it works with most people, so that in retirement, I don't have to have a big burn rate. I don't have a lot of expenses because everything's paid for.
You just like food, and like healthcare, I guess.
Yep.
Other.
Yeah, and so food, like, I have a Traeger smoker. So I smoke meat a lot. I like smoked meat. Do you guys have a Traeger? You ever eat off a Traeger? Do you know what a Traeger is? Oh.
It's a grill, I imagine, right?
It's a pellet smoker. It's kind of fun. I used to have a wood smoker. I liked it. I like smoking meat, but I'd use wood and charcoal, and it was a smoky, smoky job. Now with a Traeger, I can check the app. I can change the temperature from my couch or from my office. Imagine, I could never do with a wood smoker. You have to stand there, check the temperature, add wood, open the vent, let more air in, let less air in. So yeah, retirement to me comes with a Traeger. Everybody should get a Traeger for their retirement gift, in my opinion. If your grandparent retires, you should buy them a Traeger. Okay, that's enough of that. Expenses, retirement expenses, pre-retirement expenses, they're a big part of your plan.
I have a question. Life insurance also goes up as you get older?
Yeah, I mean, so life insurance, it's a lot less expensive when you're young. And if so life insurance is one of those things. It's a little tricky. If you have someone you care about, like a child or a spouse, and you want to provide for them if you died, you need life insurance. If you don't have somebody that you need to provide for, if you don't have any debt, and if you're not, because if you have debt, somebody's going to pay that when you die, most likely, like your spouse. Yeah, I mean, if you have a mortgage on your house and you want your children to be able to stay in that house, somebody's got to pay for that house. So life insurance would be a way to do that. But it's cheap if you're young and healthy and you buy life insurance when you're young and healthy. The older you get, the more it costs. So at some point, it becomes so expensive you do not want to buy it.
Is the premium when you buy it as a younger person like fixed for the rest of the
It's fixed for the term. There are two kinds of life insurance. One is called term, and that means it's based on a term, an amount of time. Could be a 1-year policy that goes up every year. Could be a 10-year policy that's locked in for 10 years, and then it goes up every year after that. Could be a 20-year policy that's locked in for 20, or What I would suggest for most young people is a 30-year policy that's locked in for 30 years, and after that, you cancel it because it'll go way up after the 30 years.
But what if you die like right after you cancel it?
Then you don't get the benefit. If you die right after it, yeah,
So you
ter-
can die within that time.
absolutely. On a term policy, you have to die during that term to get the benefits of the.
Against the whole principle of having like, insurance to pay for your whatever.
That's a great
Oh,
question.
It just gets like outrageously expensive.
It gets outrageously expensive.
At that point, it would be.
Correct. So then, Daniel, the other alternative for life insurance is called permanent. And if you're young and healthy, you can get it at a reasonably decent price, but it's a lot more expensive than term, but it grows a cash value and it stays the same price over time, depending on the policy you get. So it's a totally different animal. I typically don't recommend it because you should be investing your money, not putting it into a life insurance policy most of the time.
And there's also like employer sponsored life insurances, right?
What kind?
Like an employer sponsored.
Yeah, for sure. It's called employer owned life insurance. So if you go to work for a company and they offer you free life insurance, should you take it or not? Yes. But what you shouldn't do is say, okay, bye, Ashley. So what you should not do is say, okay, I've got 3 kids and a wife. I do. I have 3 kids and a wife. My kids are grown now. But when my kids were young, if I would have counted on that life insurance policy that was owned by my company, when I left my company, does that policy come with me? No.
Sometimes they sell it to you.
Yeah, they might sell it to you, but will it be as good a deal as you might find if you go out on the open market and actually shop around for the best deal? No. It'll never even come close. So it may be a good backup plan, but I would never make that your life insurance program. If it's free, take it, but don't make that your plan. You should get your own life insurance program.
Or like invest your money in the ETF.
Yeah, but still, if you have anybody relying on you, you need to buy that term policy, Daniel. Get the longest term you can get, keep it in place, and buy as much as you can, buy $1 million policy for 30 years. We're out of time, it looks like. People are leaving. Hundreds of people in the classroom are now exiting. I always say that.
Oh, we still have 2 minutes.
We do still have 10 minutes, but Daniel has places to go, people to see.
After this term.
Good. All right. Good luck with the assignment. Anybody have any questions here? It looks like I've been doing a terrible job of. Okay, I'm looking.
It's close.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I have any questions on Zoom. Zoom. I don't have it. Okay, no questions on Zoom. I'm going to end the Zoom call and I'm going to end the broadcast and I'm going to go get on my motorcycle. Hopefully it's not raining. Is it raining?
Do you have a motorcycle?
Yeah, every day.
Really?
Yeah, a Goldwing motorcycle.